on the Texas A&M Sports Network. From Learfield, live from Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road in College Station. Welcome to the Aggie Diamond Hour with Jim Schlossnagle and Trisha Ford. Brought to you by 44 Farms, the official beef of Texas A&M Athletics. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit Rudy's.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. Here's the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco.
Howdy. We welcome you to another Aggie Diamond Hour, our last Aggie Diamond Hour of the season. It has gone fast. Alongside Jim Schlossnagle, I'm Andrew Monaco, Kevin Menchow, engineers. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. We thank you for joining us all along the network and the 12th Man mobile app and Learfield's Varsity Network app. And earlier this week, Schloss, we asked for questions. Howdy, by the way.
Howdy.
We asked for questions.
We got questions.
We have, I would say a dozen, but Steven has more than one. He has like 4 follow-ups.
Come on, Steve.
To a question. Yeah.
Come on, Steve.
So
don't hog the show.
Have him as well. As we get started, final week of this season. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Matt Simon, Trisha Ford.
Wow.
They're hosting the regional first time since 2018.
How awesome is that?
That's outstanding.
How awesome is that for the girls?
You said superstar.
She's a rock star.
Yeah.
She's the toughest coach on this campus, I can tell you that.
The rock star at the bottom of the hour for this one. Just so exciting. SEC tournament, semifinals, first time they do that. You see Coco Woolley winning that one in the set. I'm watching that before going to Ole Miss. I'm just really excited about softball and with this regional and then going forward. I just think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, this is great for everybody in town to come in town and see a great baseball series and postseason play in softball. You know, this is TCU didn't have softball. UNLV, when I was at Tulane, Clemson had no softball. Tulane had no softball. At UNLV, we had softball, but I was only there 2 years. I actually got put on the selection committee to hire the next coach, and she's now a national champion coach at Florida State. Lonnie
Alameda?
Lonnie Alameda. Wow. We hired her. She was an assistant at Stanford.
Wow.
But yeah, coming here has been awesome for all the sports, but especially to get to watch the energy of a softball game.
You talk baseball and how tough it is. We talked about Fight Club or however it is. All 13 SEC schools make the NCAA tournament in softball. Isn't that amazing?
That'd be cool.
8 are hosting.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Good for them.
Yeah. Finished third. I think they're underseeded, but that's commentary from me. Here we go. First question. You ready? John Patterson says, do you anticipate Shane Sadeo staying in the rotation for the rest of the season? He had a great outing.
He did, and I would I would anticipate that. I wouldn't see why we wouldn't do that unless something comes up, but he did an awesome job. I knew he would. We lost that game Saturday night. No disrespect to the other guys, but I knew who I wanted to. Just from a mentality standpoint, Shane has, Prager's kind of the quiet killer. Sadeo, he's going to stab you and look at you in the eye as he's doing it. So maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but that's how, that's just who he is. He's a super competitive guy, and he wants the ball in his hand. And he got better as the game went on, and Max did a great job nursing him through it with the pitch calling and all that stuff. And we made some plays behind him. Wind wasn't blowing out like it normally is there, which could have got him a couple times. It also could have helped us. But it's been weird. South Carolina, wind's blowing in.
Yes.
Ole Miss, the wind's blowing in the summer. I mean, in the late spring. And now I think we're supposed to have a north wind this weekend, which is, that's not advantageous for us, really. But Shane did a great job, and I can't see us moving him off that. We won't move him up 2 days, but he'll pitch in the third game of this series.
That first ball that Jace catches in right center field, it reminded me of Micah Dallas against Florida 100%. In the SEC tournament.
No doubt. Oh yeah.
And Micah pitched a shutout.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, good call. Good call. Your memory's pretty clear.
Yeah, but Shane just has that bulldog mentality. I hate to use that cliche, but he just has it. Give me the ball, and he just attacks you.
Yeah, and his pace. It's just fun to. It's fun to be in the dugout. It's fun to play defense when the pitcher, he just works so quick. He gets the ball back. He releases, whatever, good or bad, he releases what happened on the previous pitch, gets right back to the rubber, and is ready to execute the next pitch.
Against a very good lineup.
Against a very good lineup, and going to face a really good team this weekend. I mean, really good baseball team. I have a lot of respect for Arkansas and Coach Van Horn for how they play. It's great pitching, solid defense, some years there's sexy high draft pick position players. There's always pitching.
Yeah.
But other years there's not, but they still play great baseball, like super sound fundamental baseball. They don't beat themselves. But it's when you don't let the other team score much, and that's a pretty good recipe to win baseball games. And so the pitching he's been there for 20 plus years, and what we're trying to do here, he's built recruiting class on top of recruiting class on top of recruiting class, and they'll cherry pick the portal every now and then, but most of those pitchers are homegrown.
85 Austin Ag. Curious if Tanner Jones is nursing an injury or if he's working on some things, and will we see him again soon?
Yeah, knock on wood, no, there's no injury. We did want to work on a few things in the middle of the week last week. I wanted to get him in the game. If we would have had maybe another run or two, we wanted to get Stewie in the game, and then with Evan healthy, you just finish the weekend. You take the win you can get. But I really wanted to get him in the game over the weekend out of the bullpen, but didn't get to do it. Now with no midweek game, certainly I can envision him pitching in some role this weekend. It's not out of the question that he wouldn't start a game. And the rain certainly will play a role in that because it crunches your pitching up.
Yeah.
And so you can't, you're usually not going to throw a guy in the first game and then throw him again in the second game. And then he's got less than 24 hours to recover. So that's going to expose the depth of a pitching staff, good or bad.
When do you start talking? And who do you all talk with? Is it conference, Dave Van Horn? ESPN's involved here because Thursday is a nationally televised game. How does that communication work when weather becomes a factor?
Yeah, it's everybody. We'll keep the visiting team in the loop, but the league doesn't like to. They like to wait. They have to, as we learned last year against Alabama. They make the ultimate call, and so they're on top of. They're communicating with both schools. They're looking at the radar. They're talking to our facility people here, game operations, and then the ESPN or the SEC network. And so the goal was to get all the games in on the days we're supposed to play. Worst case is doubleheaders. So we'll wait. They do not like to make decisions early. Yeah. So it's unless you truly know. Arkansas is already here, so they're practicing right now, I think, and so we'll hang out unless they tell us there's just no way. So. The latest we're allowed to start a game, I found that out today, is 10 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. We can't resume a game after midnight, but we can start one at 9. And I'd rather start a game at 9 o'clock than play 2 on Friday. So hoping that the rain can get out, and then it'll be how much rain have we gotten? Is the field playable? And then lightning, which is always the wild card.
Right. Mm-hmm. Jacob wants to know, he's very interested in your base running philosophy.
Yeah.
Are the staff's holds, sends based on analytics or years of experience or a combination of both plus more?
I wouldn't say it's analytics. It's just, I sit, I coach the base running. I run the offense. So I've spent the last 2 days watching every pitcher for Arkansas, and you try and figure out tendencies here and there. And, for example, Hagen Smith, best college pitcher in the country, left-handed. I think he's picked over the first base 70-plus times, right? So when you're running against a left-handed pitcher, it's a guessing game. It's an educated guessing game because you're just going on the first move. As soon as he picks his leg up, you're going. There's no other way to do it. If you wait to try and read something, you're going to get a bad jump. So against the lefties, it's just a guessing game. How many times have they picked? Is this a guy? There's other. I don't want to give away everything,
right.
but against a lefty, it's a guessing game, and then it's also math. Like how long does what we call his leg time? So from the second he picks his leg up to when the ball hits the catcher's mitt, how long is that time? A good time is usually 1.3 seconds or less. You get into the 1.4s and 1.5s. Unless we get a brutal jump or fall down, you're going to be safe, And most I don't really take into account the catcher unless he's just obscenely good,
right.
Because it's just math. If the pitcher's got a slow leg, then it depends on the speed of the runner, right? And then against the righty, it's just a math. What kind of pickoff move does he have? Ole Miss had bad leg times, most of the team, but really good pickoff moves.
Yes.
So you had to respect it.
Yes.
Chestnut got picked off. That's actually the first time, even in practice, I've ever seen him get picked off by a right-handed pitcher.
Really?
Yeah, and what he did is he got too big of a lead. He was on his own because he's a great base runner. He's fast, and I give him – there are times when he's not, but there are times when, hey, man, you're on your own. Get that base. And he had too big of a lead, and the guy didn't have a great leg time, and he was, like, trying to get – he had just gotten a hit, and so he was excited, and he didn't need a great jump to steal that base, but he tried to get one, and he got picked off. Yeah. That's what happened there. So I think base running is going to play a huge role in this weekend. It's going to play a huge role against Hagen Smith. And it's one question I'd like to ask fans, right? So if you're facing a guy that strikes everybody out and doesn't give up hits, what do you do on the bases?
Gotcha.
What would you do?
Me?
Yeah.
I am of your belief, aggressive but not reckless.
Yeah, so my thing is, like I talked to the players today, he's not a guy you can steal a lot of bases on, but you got to get first to third.
Right.
Because if you're going to sit around and wait on getting 2 hits in an inning against Hagen Smith, good luck. Yeah. Especially if the wind's not going to blow out. Right. We don't even have a chance to pop one up and have it blow out. So I'm not saying we're going to be able to steal bases on Hagen. He's really good. He's quick to the plate for a huge guy. Mm-hmm. But if he happens to walk a guy or two, we have to get to third base with less than 2 outs somehow. Yeah. Because you're not going to bunch hits against them.
And you can do that through your entire lineup.
Not the entire lineup.
you can do that with most of your lineup.
Most of our lineup, yeah.
But Gavin can run. Jace can run.
Yeah.
Right? And again, if he's going to run and open up a base, maybe that's – but your guys can – I mean, as I say that, Ted Burton has 9, and I know he's hobbled a little bit. But Jackson Appel, double digits in steals. Ali Camarillo can run.
And that's the thing. I don't ever want to be a one-dimensional offense because – For example, Georgia, a ton of homers, can really hit. They never bunt and they never run. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there's no pressure. Right. The pressure is making sure you make pitches and don't walk people before Condon hits 19 miles. So, but I don't. I want the threat of the stolen base. Right. It's not so much about the number of bases we steal. It's the percentage at which we steal them, right? Mm-hmm. So our percentage has been pretty good. We're way under the last 2 years. We've stolen, I think, 100 bases each of the last 2 years, but teams are holding us better. And then also when Jace is at first base and Braden's up, I'll let him run, but the math has to be right. We're not going to take as many chances as we have in the past.
But you'll run and hit with guys. You'll double steal first and second.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the most important time to steal third base is when there's a runner at first base. Mm-hmm. Because we work really hard on holding runners at second base. So do you know how many I just told you, but we have one attempted stolen base of third this year. One. It was Auburn with Ike Irish hitting, and the guy got thrown out in the inning. Mm-hmm. But nobody else has even tried because we do a good job of holding runners. Conversely, I think we're 14 of 16 steals of third base, so we've only been thrown out 2 times, but over half of those have been with runners at first and second. Gotcha. So you double the bases. So it's not totally 28, but think about that math. The other team has got 0 steals of third. We have 28. Yeah. 28 extra bases. And so to me, that's good baseball, and you want to get in those positions so that a base hit scores 2 runs.
Jim Bob Carver, before we go to break, after the shot of Schloss eating peanut butter in the dugout, America needs to know, Jiffy or Peter Pan?
Actually, whatever they put in the dugout, I don't know if it's Jiffy or Peter Pan, as long as it's creamy. I'm not into the – no crunchy peanut butter.
No?
Man, that's
creamy?
Nasty.
Okay.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't eat that up there, and somebody – said they took a picture of it on TV, but
Schloss, they always catch you eating. I'm not
hungry.
Lie. No. To me, this was old days. When I'm still working in Florida, I would run down and I would do some games for the Marlins. And every time Jim Leland was smoking in the dugout, the director said, "Do not get Jim. You don't take it." The thing is, I think they always get you when you have an apple or a peanut butter.
I can't eat. I get hungry during the game. I don't like to eat super late at night. And I can't eat those bars and all that stuff those guys eat because we'd be weighing 9 million pounds. So whatever fruit's down there, keeps me going.
Yeah, yeah. You know what?
I don't smoke, so.
You've probably been tempted with some of your teams.
No, yeah.
Mas Fajitas, proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Come by and see us at our College Station location. That's off Highway 6 for great food, great drinks, great service. Mas Fajitas is a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. More of the Aggie Diamond Hour and more of the questions for Jim Schlossnagle. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield. Head on over to your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com to place an order for their real Texas barbecue. You can enjoy 100% oak smoked meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. And don't forget, Rudy's serves made-to-order and grab-and-go breakfast tacos every day until 10 a.m. And that is where we are. Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. It's the Aggie Diamond Hour, and this is the baseball portion of the Aggie Diamond Hour alongside Jim Schlossnagle. We solicited questions from y'all, and y'all came through beautifully. Brenda wants to know, whatever happened to the kid in the dugout who got hit in the face with a foul ball, and how is he doing?
He's doing great. He had a broken nose. He had surgery. He's fully recovered and back to work. He's doing great.
Favorite place to eat in BCS, and what do you think about Old Sarge, asks Mr. Dixie Isamoris.
Old Sarge, I don't know. Jury's out. I mean, it's interesting. I think Texas A&M is an iconic place, and I don't know enough about Old Sarge, so I can't really give an opinion. I think iconic schools that with great logos don't need to venture off too much. But I think also, new stuff is cool.
Right.
And so
team was excited to be seen. Weren't they? When they got
they were excited. They were excited. They were more excited when they got those turtle boxes yesterday. Those speaker things. That was pretty awesome. What was the other part of the question? Oh, favorite place to eat. Man, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. I mean, I like 1860. Yeah. I like Rudy's Barbecue.
Yep.
I like Republic if I'm going to go have a good steak somewhere. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Gate 12.
Good place.
The underrated place, really good food, easy in, can eat and get out. Especially I live west of town, so I can sneak by there and get out. There's some good places in Bryan. There's a lot of great food here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
You can eat here for sure.
Yeah.
Steven wants to know, is Troy Wansing done for the year?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's got another shot trying to figure out if he's going to be able to move forward in his career or not. So haven't got an update on that lately, but
that's the sad part.
Yeah,
right?
super tough. Yeah, super tough. Backs are scary injuries because they can affect you for a lifetime. So got to be real careful with that.
Has there been a favorite player to coach since you got here to Aggieland?
A favorite player to coach? Oh, geez. I better not answer that one.
Okay, I'll give you an easier one. Ready?
Yeah.
Who on the team would put the biggest hurt on a pizza buffet?
On this team?
Yeah.
I mean, Schott has really pared himself down. So I think in the fall when he first got here, I can see Schott doing some late night damage to a pizza, especially at late night. But he's cleaned up his act a little bit and really cleaned up his body. So, our guys and most of today's athletes, I'm sure they have their moments, but most of our guys do a pretty good job of eating. And you're trying to, most of them you're trying to, like Weston Moss needs to win this award because he just needs to eat. Like most of these guys just need Sadeo. It doesn't matter what they eat, just eat, get calories in them because they burn them off so quick.
Yeah.
You and I don't have that problem.
No. Interesting story from being in Ole Miss this weekend and talking with some of the folks who knew Braden Montgomery growing up there. It was around 9th grade that Braden realized, I can be pretty good at this, and that's when he really turned to his attention to lifting and getting stronger, nutrition and all of that. And obviously you can see that payoff.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what you talk about. Athletes, whether it's baseball, softball, football, soccer, all of them. Really, young athletes have such an advantage in stuff like that because you can see the benefit of all of it.
Well, they have so many resources, right? So we were actually just talking about this yesterday as a staff on our way to lunch. For most of my coaching career, I remember at TCU, you were allowed to give them a snack, but you weren't allowed to give them a meal. So what we would do in the mornings is our strength coach would swing by the local bagel shop, and they would hand yesterday's bagels, because yesterday's bagels, which are totally fine, but they're not allowed to sell them. in a big bag yesterday's bagels, and he would bring them to the locker room, and we weren't allowed to provide peanut butter or jelly, cream cheese, so the players had to go buy their own peanut butter and jelly, and that's what they would, and so they wouldn't have to spend any money. That was their snack that we were legally, and now these guys, I think Ross told me last year, Texas A&M Athletics spent $10 million just on food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, whether it be in the Slocum Dining Hall or, the stuff that's every facility now has, you would call it like a fueling station or like a little kitchen there's every possible snack and smoothies and all kinds of stuff. So they get food delivered there all the time. So the reason they're able to stay in better shape is because they have the food's available.
Right.
18, 19-year-old college kid's not going to cook for himself. He's going to be swinging through, fast food most of the time. So now there's literally no excuse. Like every resource is available to you at a place like A&M.
Sandy wants to know, anything happened to the game where Georgia was using a foreign substance? Anything come of that?
No. I mean, I think, it was probably addressed from the SEC office, and, that kind of thing doesn't bother me. It upsets me more that we didn't catch it, so we could have said something during the course of the game. Umpires are, they don't like to get involved unless, as a coach, you make them. Mm-hmm. And so that's an interesting story. When I was the coach at TCU, we were playing A&M, and I know the A&M fans were real mad at me because I think it was Hendricks, right?
Yes.
The reliever, great reliever, great breaking ball. He kept going to his glove, and he was striking. I think it was in the 15-16 inning game in 2015, whatever that was. He's striking us out like we had no chance. His breaking ball was dropping, and he kept going to his glove. So I didn't want to be a jerk. I didn't want to make a scene, embarrass the kid, anything like that. So in between innings, I went to the home plate umpire, and I said, hey, man, he keeps going to his glove. I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to upset Coach Childress, but this is the super regional, man. And so can you just check him? He's like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Oh, really?
I was like, well, if I come out while the ball's in play, that you have to. He said, yeah, I know. And that's how it happened.
Right.
And I couldn't look my own team in the face.
Right.
The hitters, and I was like, hey, can you check them? And that's, and I know that's when Aggie fans got really mad. But that's the job. And the job of the coach is to represent the team.
Yes.
Especially with the umpires, right? If anybody gets thrown out of a game, it needs to be the coach, not a player. So, but yeah, that nothing happened out of it other than the fact that it just so happened the next time that guy pitched, he gave up 2 homers. So he struck us out 6 times. But anyway, I'm sure he's a great kid, and I mean that stuff's been part of baseball and will continue to be part of baseball.
Yeah.
The balls are really, really, really slick, and they get that, and the further you play in the major leagues, there's hardly any seams on them. Right. So there's always going to be something trying to be figured out to get a grip on the ball. Radio Diva, that is my friend Shelley. What's the best win and worst loss as an Aggie skipper? Best win's got to be beating Louisville to go to Omaha. Beating Texas and Notre Dame, that's fun too. But just there's so much pressure in the Super Regional. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to say that game 2 of the Super Regional. Toughest loss, we just needed to win one more game at Stanford, so we can pick either of those. But that first game at Mississippi State last year, when we got walked off, we still talk about that one. That one was physically painful. Yeah, didn't sleep, your guts just turning. So that's one, and it's crazy how you remember the tough losses way more than you remember the great wins. Yeah. Winning, this is a horrible thing, but it's true. And I'm sure Coach Ford would say the same thing. Winning never feels as good as losing feels bad. When you work your rear end off and you do feel like you do the right thing, you have good players, and you got a great program, and you win, you're like, yeah, we're supposed to win. It feels like some games are like a 7, most games are like a 5. In Super Regionals a 9. I've never been even played in the championship, so I hope that day's coming soon. But a loss on a scale of 1 to 10, that's even a Tuesday night, how are we ever going to win again? Right. And so at least that's how it is with me. So, and that's not good. That's not healthy, but that's fact.
These have been a blast. Thank you, my friend.
You got it, buddy.
You got it. He is Jim Schlossnagle, head coach fighting Texas Aggies Thursday, Friday, Saturday against Arkansas, 7-2 this weekend. At Texas A&M, our goal is to build champions, and we need you, the 12th man, to be a part of that like never before by joining us in our official NIL partner, Texas Aggies United. Join Texas Aggies United today. Do it at texasaggiesunited.com and help build the best NIL program in the country. When we come back, it's the superstar, Coach Trisha Ford, Matt Simon. Aggie Diamond Hour continues. It's the softball portion next. This is Aggie Baseball and Aggie Softball from Learfield.
Aggie softball season is presented by T-Mobile. Whether your team is home or away, T-Mobile has Texas A&M covered from coast to coast. Fans are getting more coverage and incredible value as T-Mobile brings 5G to hometowns across the SEC. Switch now and make T-Mobile your hometown network. Welcome back. It is the Aggie Diamond Hour. We're at Rudy's Barbecue, 504 Harvey Road in College Station. I'm going to use the joke I use every time, going to the bullpen. You know, you're the pitching coach. We'll go to the bullpen and get thanks to Andrew and Jim Schlossnagle, Trisha Ford, our head softball coach, with us here as Texas A&M getting set to host a regional here at Davis Diamond. I've got some brag points. I'm going to embarrass you because I know you don't like this here. Yeah. The season for the Aggies so far, folks, as they head into the NCAA tournament, 40 wins, first time since 2018, third place in the SEC, highest finish ever, 15 wins in the league, second most victories ever, number 3 seed in the SEC tournament, highest seed ever, first ever trip to the SEC tournament semifinals. Emily Kennedy, the first pitcher to ever be a first-team All-SEC pick. You have the largest average attendance in school history. You have one of the largest attendances you've had ever this year. And you're hosting a regional for the first time since 2018. So pretty darn good season.
That's why you hired me.
I know. But again, and we've talked. I try to get her to spin the positivity a little bit. But that's all great. That's great. What that did is got you to where you are now, and it doesn't win you anything in the postseason, though.
Yeah, no, I'm very pleased with kind of our growth in the program and our players stepping up, and obviously Lefty doing Lefty things. Trinity Canyon has been on a tear, and so just – you know, they're getting better, they're competing, and, you know, as a result of their work, we're hosting a regional on Davis Diamond, so really excited about that.
Yeah, and I know that was one of your messages to the team, and I've had some friends grumbling to me as well about the seeding and whatnot, but when you take a step back and look at it, I had to look it up because I was curious. There are 307 teams that play Division I softball.
Yep.
16 of them get to be at home,
yep,
and you guys get to be one of them.
Absolutely, and you know, for me, I love that our team's a little ticked off. We play really well when we kind of have a chip on our shoulder and feel like the underdog, and so I love it. So we got to get through this weekend. This weekend's going to be tough. Obviously, with us being the 16th seed, we have the toughest regional. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to beat somebody hard anyways to get to the promised land, so I'm excited.
Well, and you play well at home. I mean, it's not going to guarantee you a win, but we've talked about this ad nauseum when we've been on the road. 2 losses at home all year, both by 1 run, literally in the last inning of the game. So you play well. You have an incredible fan support there. It's those advantages, those little mental sort of advantages, I would say, that is why you work as hard as you do during the regular season.
Yep, and the 12th man is huge. I think that's been another piece that has really elevated our game. I know our team loves to play in front of our home crowd, so I'm anticipating a pretty rowdy crowd this weekend, so let's get after it.
Yeah, your word is spicy. I think they've been a little spicy this year. It's
I
been
love
fun.
Spicy. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been fun.
No need to be vanilla around here.
No. And you do see the difference that the crowd makes when you go on the road. I mean, this year we have played at LSU, we've played at Florida, we've played at Alabama, and some probably 3 of the most hostile environments in the SEC, and you can see where that can make a little bit of a difference, and it can work on the other side too.
Absolutely, and I feel like, you know, even through some of those tough losses that we've had on the road, we learned from it and we got better, and you know, next year most of them are going to come to us, so what comes around goes around.
I love it. The Aggies hosting the regional at Davis Diamond this weekend. It's going to get underway Friday. 3 o'clock will be Texas State and Penn State, and then at 5:30 it'll be Texas A&M against U-Albany. Those are your 4 teams. The regional spills into Saturday and then into Sunday. It is a double elimination regional. First one, really the first one in the fully completed Davis Diamond. We did host in 2018 when the stadium was kind of mostly done. But you'll play throughout the entire weekend. The winner advances to Super Regional round next weekend. Quick ticket update, by the way. All session tickets are gone. They're done for the weekend. Single session tickets, I think each day is a session, will go on sale 1 hour prior to gates opening. It'll be limited edition, general admission, and SRO and stuff like that, and that's all on our website as well. All right, 40-13, I believe, was the record this season. I know, as you will every year, you're going to leave some games on the table, but overall, just your kind of vibe, your feel, and your thought on kind of how year 2 went for you. We talked at the start of the season. You said every time we do this is your 4th time, I think, doing this. You say year 2 is always the hardest.
Yeah, I think, year 2 is always harder because your first year, you're going to kind of come to where the players are at. And what I mean by that is figure out who they are, what they need. You got to get them on the boat, right, in order for us to kind of get the boat moving. And so that's what year 1 is really, and them to kind of learn about me. Year 2, I'm like, okay, sisters, we're on the boat, but now I'm the head, we're moving this thing, and this is how we're going to move it. So year 2 is just a little bit harder in that, sense. And then year 3, you really kind of define, the direction and how we're going to do things. So they don't know that yet, but they will next year. Yeah.
Well, and that's, I think, another one of those, you're big on the life lesson stuff. It's about, to you guys, it's about so much more than softball and winning games. You're trying to teach them things that they can carry on and being strong women in life. And that's a big lesson to learn as you start to work your way out of college and move forward. Yeah, I mean,
there's some things that I always say, like how you do anything is how you do everything. And the standard is the standard. It doesn't really matter what you're doing or how it doesn't matter if you're picking up your clothes, your room, how you're preparing for classes. Like all of that is an example of like who you are and how you do things. And for you to be successful in life, I get made fun of because I'll be doing something and there'll be something minutely wrong with a piece of paper. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to redo it. Because at the end of the day, I can't look at myself in the mirror because that's not my best. And so that's what you're trying to get them to understand is everything you do should be your best.
This year, I know you've been diving into film and all prepping for these teams this weekend, but just pulling you back a little bit, big picture style. What has maybe been 1 or 2 things that maybe you've been most pleasantly surprised with kind of the way that the season has played out to this point?
Our defense, to be honest with you. We've played very clean defense, knock on wood. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's been huge. Our athleticism in the outfield, I don't know that there's a better outfield, trio in our game. So that's been really big. I think our short game has improved, dramatically. I still think it could use another dramatic improvement. But I think those, 2 things, besides obviously like lefty being lefty, I think her growth has been huge. But we've talked about that a lot. But I think the biggest thing is we've made outs. We have not elongated a inning because of errors. And when, those lineups don't get turned over unnecessarily, then your pitching can be more effective later on in the game. So it's kind of a two-way, street.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned defense, and you talk about, how you do every little thing is how you do everything. And, the fans that have watched you play all season, you can count time and time again, all these examples in games where your defense either in the right place at the right time or not, I call it giving up on a play until the umpire tells you it's over. I mean, how many times have we caught a runner napping or been able to try to backpick somebody off? And then on the flip side, offensively, stealing.
Yeah, our base running is
maybe not stolen base, but like Coco Woolley catching teams napping twice in a weekend at least. Kennedy Powell's done it quite a bit. I mean, those little things really do make a difference. And when you see the other team hesitate, and even Florida did it this last week.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
We actually talked about it as a team the other day because Savannah Price, who's been primarily a pinch runner, she's our depth kid in the infield. She had watched quite a bit of film on Florida and knew that they tend to leave third base open. And so she was watching throughout the game. So when we put her in, she took third base and it ended up, they ended up overthrowing. And so it's when you get kids to kind of buy in and understand what their role is and how they can be the best version of that. I mean, that stole us 2 runs, that play alone.
I'm glad you mentioned that, too, because that's something I didn't even know until really midway through the season. If you want to kind of explain to people, what I would call the role players, the bench players, not your everyday starters, you guys have things for them to do that lock them in the dugout throughout the entire game, don't you?
Yeah, we call them our special teams. And so basically, they run a lot in practice because that's how it gets our defense ready to go and pushes them. But also during the game, they have a chart of, especially in bunt coverages, what the corners are doing, who's coming back to cover third base, do they leave it abandoned, and just some things. We have our pinch hitter. She's charting, right, if it's a right-handed pinch hitter, so AC, okay, how are they throwing to the righties? We have a left-handed, pinch hitter. How are they throwing to lefties? And so they're always kind of in the game and talking to their teammates so that when it comes time for them to hopefully execute, their name's called, they at least have been in the game and in tune with the game. And
in one of these diamond sports, you're never going to execute every time you go up there. But when they do execute after doing that, that makes you guys as coaches seeing the look on their face is probably all worth it.
Absolutely, and it gets more buy-in, and the more buy-in you get, the more you can push them kind of in, diving into that a little bit deeper.
Exactly. All right, Trisha Ford here with us on the Aggie Diamond Hour. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll dive a little bit more into the regional and the teams coming here as well. Texas A&M softball hosting at Davis Diamond this weekend. It gets underway on Friday, and once again, tickets available at the gate an hour before what is available will be available an hour before the gates open at Davis Diamond. That's starting on Friday. All right, we'll take a break. We're back to Rudy's after this. This is Aggie softball from Learfield. Hey, 12th man, there's really no better way to describe the uniqueness of Walk-On Sports Bistro. Start every dish from scratch and use fresh ingredients to bring mouthwatering Cajun cuisine to life. Whether you're here for dinner with the family, date night, cocktails, or watching a game on the big screen, we're always happy to share Louisiana culture with you. Walk-On's proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Welcome back. It is the Aggie Diamond Hour. We're here at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road in College Station, visiting with our head softball coach, Trisha Ford. The Aggies hosting a regional at Davis Diamond. It's a pretty big weekend on campus there. Coach Schloss, who was just here, he's got himself
he's having a heck of a year. I love that man. He's a great job, has done a great job on and off the field, and just, year in, year out, always produces a great team.
And I think people always wonder, are coaches able to keep up with what the other teams are doing because they're so invested? I can tell you for a fact, pretty much every day, Trisha's like, Matt, did baseball win?
Yeah.
Most of the time the answer is yes.
Yes, yeah. It's a good answer. I like it.
I know, which works out well. All right, let's dive into this regional, because I think I was talking with our friend Amanda Scarborough, who's she's in Tuscaloosa this weekend. We'll forgive her. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I feel like this regional nationally is not like sexy from an eyeball perspective, but from a competitive perspective, I actually do think it's one of the toughest regionals. Obviously, we know a lot about the Aggies, but diving into the other opponents, let's start with the number 2 seed, Texas State. Well, no, I'm sorry, you're a coach. Let's start with the 4 seed, your opponent on Friday, yes. UAlbany. UAlbany is out of the America East Conference, first trip since 2018, and the thing about these 4 seeds to me, not being a coach, is you will always catch a team that is red hot, that is pumped up, that is ready for a perfect experience, a big-time experience. So, UAlbany and kind of what you've been able to see on them and some of the challenges you might see from them on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nose on the head. Just they're going to be ready to play. They have nothing to lose, They have 2 pitchers that they use primarily. See, I always go to pitching first.
You do.
Yeah. So, and they complement each other well. So one's going to be a kind of a screwball change-up kid, and the other one's going to be down and change. And so those 2 kind of are, on different planes. So between the 2 of them, they pretty much have pitched every inning except for 20. I think it's 19.1, to be honest with you. The third pitcher has just, random numbers in my head. And so they just do a good job of hitting their spots. They're not really anything fancy, but, they can hit a spot, change speeds, spread the zone when they need to. And so, we just have to – sometimes when you're facing pitchers that their velo, we've been seeing 70 miles an hour now for the last 8 weeks. And you come down to that 63-ish range and even below that. Our zone tends to get a little bit bigger because we get like watermelon eyes, and I'm like, just because you can doesn't mean you should, and so just getting them to really stay, pretty locked in with their zone. And then they have a couple of kids, their leadoff kid and their number 2 kid. The leadoff kid is a little bit of a lefty slapper. She'll also hit, has a little bit of speed. I think she has about 17 stolen bases on the year. The number 2 kid is a righty, and she has, 20, I think it's, 25 maybe stolen bags on the year. So there's a little speed factor. Nothing that we haven't seen in the SEC, but something that, kind of what they bring to the table. And then after that, we have a lot of righties. I think about in that 6th hole, it's kind of crazy that I'm remembering all of this, but in that 6th hole, they have another lefty that is primarily a lefty hitter, but she will slap. And I just think they're going to put the ball, they're going to try to, be a punch and Judy type of team. They're going to be scrappy. They have a couple kids that do some one-handed bunts, so trying to, get on base any way they can. So they're just going to be a scrappy team. I think that's, kind of what a number 4 seed always looks like, and that's why you see so many close games, first day.
Yeah, and then the 2-3 game is very intriguing to me. And this is 2 teams in Penn State and Texas State that actually played. Yep. If you followed our schedule, we were in San Marcos in mid-ish March, and like 2 weeks before that, Penn State was in San Marcos to play a series. Penn State, 34-win team. It's their first trip to the tournament since 2011. If you were watching on social media, they probably had the best reaction of any team. They exploded. I think they might have actually been the last team in the tournament. If they weren't the last, they were one of the last. So huge explosion, huge excitement, and it's their first trip in 13-plus years. And then Texas State, cannot stress to people enough how tough of a draw this is. And it's a team you're exceptionally familiar with. 45 wins as a team that is in the top 10 in the entire country. They have the nation's leader in victories in Jessica Mullins. She just got drafted yesterday to play in the Athletes Unlimited professional ranks as well. Incredibly. And this was a team that I would say was probably one of these fringe hosts. Probably weren't going to host because of the conference they're in, but right there on the bubble. This 2-3 game, and whoever comes out of that, whoever you would draw in whatever round, I think they're going to be challenged for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, again, kind of what you were talking about, how it's not quote-unquote sexy, but the fact that it's getting picked up by TV nationally, I think is it kind of tells you that how good of a game they really think it is. So Penn State is kind of a balanced attack. They have 3 or 4 pitchers. Really, their horse, I think she's thrown 179 innings, is a freshman from Southern California, so I'm pretty familiar with her. A funny story about her, she wasn't going to be a pitcher when she went to college, and she started to, I'm going to start fiddling around with it, and now she's thrown 179 innings. So she's pretty good. She was on the USA Top 25 freshman watch list, so she's going to keep them in ball games. And as you all know, those that keep us in the game, anything can happen.
Yep.
And that's kind of Mullins, So Penn State has a little bit more pop than I would say Albany, but they're a little, they're going to run a little bit. They have 2 arms that are primarily sucking up those innings, but nothing crazy. But Texas State's going to be a hard one. I'm not even going to sit here and, sugarcoat it. Mullins competes her tail off. They are probably one of the oldest teams in also college softball this year. So their starting lineup has been the same starting lineup for the last 4 years. So Ricky does a great job. I actually really like Ricky. We're wired pretty similarly. So she's done a great job, and every year they come out and compete. So it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, and so, of course, we played down there earlier this year, and every year it's usually a home-and-home type scenario, like home one year, away the next year. Faced them twice last year in Austin, if you remember that regional there. We faced Texas State there. See them in the fall as well, so it's incredibly familiar. And I always feel like sometimes when you play one of these teams, and I'm not talking down to them, but when they're not in the Power 5 leagues, when they get a crack at an SEC team, especially in their state or a Big 12 or whatever the power league is, extra little bit of juice in there.
And we owe them, so we're motivated. I know I am motivated to take care of business. So excited that we're at Davis though this time.
Exactly. All right, we'll take a break, come back and wrap up this edition of the Aggie Diamond Hour. And again, tickets for this regional available about 1 hour prior to first pitch. Single session tickets at the gate at Davis Diamond, so that would be at 2 o'clock on Friday, and that would be at 1 o'clock on Saturday, TBD on Sunday. All right, we're back with more to wrap this one up here from Rudy's Barbecue in College Station. This is Aggie Softball from Learfield. Wrapping up the last edition of the Aggie Diamond Hour here at Rudy's Barbecue, 504 Harvey Road in College Station. Aggie Softball hosting the NCAA Regional at Davis. It starts on Friday. It'll be Penn State, Texas State at 3, 5:30, Texas A&M and UAlbany. And then Saturday, the games start at 2 o'clock, and then it'll spill into Sunday as well. And Trisha Ford, our head coach, here with us. I guess it's always about you and your team individually, but things that you think that they're going to need to do this weekend to stay locked in and focused to move on to next weekend, because I know everyone's looking at that, but you can't get to next weekend without this weekend.
Yeah, I think really just keeping things simple for us. So I think pounding the zone, I think it begins and ends in that circle. So we're going to need Emily Levitt, Brooke Vestal, and Shaylee Ackerman to really step up, and they have started. Brooke threw some really solid innings in Auburn, and so kind of that continued growth. But I think for me, it's going to be our ability to get runners on, which I feel like we've done pretty consistently this year, but getting that hit when we need to get that hit, or put the bunt down, a squeeze. We're going to have to manufacture some runs, is what I was going to say, and making sure that when they put the ball over the white part of the plate, we're doing some damage. So yeah, it's always comes back to Coach Harker, doesn't it? It does, yes. Yeah. I like to blame him for everything, yes.
He's probably used to it by now. All right, hey, I really appreciate it, and best of luck this weekend. I know that you're really looking forward to seeing the fans out here at Davis as well.
Absolutely. Let's get it out there. Let's get the spice going.
Oh, I think they'll crank it up. It's been a couple of weeks. They haven't been home.
It feels like it's been forever.
All right, that's Trisha Ford. That's our head softball coach. The Aggies hosting the NCAA Regional at Davis starting on Friday. The Aggies game will be at 5:30 against UAlbany, and then Saturday and Sunday is when that will continue. All right, hope you enjoyed this Aggie Diamond Hour all season long. Thanks to our producer Tony back at Jeff City, and then Kevin here in the restaurant, and then for Andrew and for Jim Schlossnagle and for Trisha Ford, it's Matt Simon, and we will see you out at the yard this weekend and beyond. You've been listening to Texas A&M Softball from Learfield.